Hi, thank you for coming to Giant Potter Yoga. I'm Giant Potter. If you're here for the second time, thank you for coming back. I hope this is a wonderful class for you. I'm excited about this class because I needed something for sore muscles because I had some really great yoga workouts this weekend. So sore muscles are what's happening now, and I like to do that today. So you're gonna need 2 blocks and a bolster or a big pillow. Let's get started. Here you go. So I like to start warming up the toes because the feet. So all of your toes should be on the ground here. Now this is a lot for a lot of people. Some people prefer to put your elbows on a block and lean forward. Just hang out here. That's wonderful. Wonderful place. Some people like to sit right on a block, which is what I like to do. And other people like to hold the blocks like right outside their hips, so they're just kind of resting on the blocks that way. You got to do whatever you feel great with, and breathe and let go. And even if you don't feel great and comfortable, know that you are growing and surrendering and doing yoga breathing, allowing everything to just be the way it is. Following the breath. Let's take 5 deep breaths. Why don't we do some neck stretches here in this pose, wrist and neck stretches. So take your left hand, make a stop sign, and then bring your fingers to face the floor, the tops of your fingers facing the floor. Take your right pinky and pull it in towards you. Ring finger, pull it in towards you. Middle finger, pull it in. Index finger, pull it in. Thumb, pull it towards you. Whole hand, pull all the fingers towards you. Breathe into your forearm and release that. Make a stop sign with your right hand. Spin it down. Pull the pinky finger towards you, index finger towards you, the middle finger towards you, index finger towards you, and thumb finger towards you. Pull all your fingers down, wrist up, fingers back. Breathe into your forearm, the inside of your forearm. Breathe. Great. Twist your fingers and make circles with your hands. And go the other way. You can release the feet here. Release the tops of your feet to the floor. Okay. You can be released a lock. Sit forward of your feet, child's pose. Bring your hands in front of you. About 5 breaths here. Let's shift our hips forward. Let's roll through each vertebra and land with our body weight over our wrists, forward of our wrists, stretching out the wrist this way. And lift your hips. Let's bend the elbows to come to a cobra. Pelvis is on the ground, looking up. Squeeze your shoulders back together. Bring the heart to the space in front of it. And then shift your body all the way. Head touches the floor. Arms come into a tent. Tent your arms out. And then lift up, roll up. Shoulders are down. Heart is lifting through. And then roll down. Forehead tucked on the mat. Tent your hands. Press into your fingertips as you reach up. Roll your shoulders down your back. Bring your heart to the space in front of it. Lift through your collarbones. A little bit higher. And then roll down. Keep reaching down. Forehead touches the mat. Let's go one more time. Straight up. Lead up. Take your right shoulder. Look over your left shoulder. Place the right shoulder down. The right cheek down. Continue. Look to the left. Maybe press the left palm down. The right hand down. And then tense your fingers and come up again. Chest lifts, heart lifts. Shoulder touch behind your back. Reach your heart through towards the wall in front. And then bring the left elbow to meet the ground. The left cheek on the ground. Relax your right hand and left hand. And come up to knees, hands and knees, and shift back. Roll chin to your chest, tuck your chin in, roll through a cat-cow towards a cobra. When your hips land, your heart lifts, breathe in, shoulders reach back down, heart lifts through, and then tailbone is reaching high, head is reaching high, lifting through your collarbones as you bring your hips back. Exhale. And inhale, tuck your chin into your chest and roll forward. And exhale, and take your hips up and roll back. Exhale, inhale, tuck your chin, tuck your hips, breathe in. Let the breath round through your spine, round up your spine in the back, and exhale through. Let's come, actually, I know this is untraditional. Maybe I could call this a Vin Yin class because I do want to warm up first. Shoulders, plank pose. Left elbow down, right elbow down, forearm plank. Breathe. Let's walk the toes in towards the elbows. Dolphin plank, dolphin pose. Come to a downward facing dog. From downward dog, join your feet. Bend your knees, lift your hips and ripple through each vertebra as you come forward with your wrists to an upward facing dog. Breathe. Squeeze your shoulder blades through, your heart through, lift. Exhale, reach your back. Let's do that a couple more times. Lift the balls of your feet, bend your knees, lift through your hips, lift through each vertebra on your toes as you roll through your spine to come to an upward facing dog or a cobra. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale, bring it back. And walk your feet towards your hands. Fold over your legs, generous bend to start in the knees. Working towards straight. Doesn't matter if you're there or not. Your practice. Only thing that matters is your breathing. Deep, full breaths, letting it go, releasing with each exhale. Just letting go of everything you cannot control. That's what surrender means. Surrender means letting go of everything out of your control. And then reach up, roll up through each vertebra, each vertebra in your spine, all the way to a standing pose. The hands up into the ceiling. Take your right hand, clasp your left elbow. Take your left elbow, step it behind you, and reach your elbows back. Reach your hands back, I should say, to the right. Come to center. Hands interlace, put them up and bring them back. Bring your thumbs toward the space behind you. Squeeze your heart. Shoulder blades are making a pillow for your heart, like lifting through your heart. Belly is squeezing in, hips are reaching forward. Breathe in and come back. Now, left hand grabs right elbow, reach hands up. Right foot steps behind. Make a nice side stretch. Look to the corner of the room, corner. Breathe into the side body as you reach your arms back to the space to the left. Breathe. And come back. Look at the ceiling. Let's release with the flat back as we fold all the way over our legs. Inhale, look up halfway. Step the right leg back. Step the right leg down. Reach the left leg back. Plank pose. Let's take this a nice, deep, long plank. Breathe. Hollow out the core. Use your core. Drop your elbows to the ground. Take forearm plank. Walk up to a dolphin pose. Press into your hands. Walk back into a plank. Lift your hands for downward facing dog. Come to your tippy toes. Let's roll through each vertebra to an upward facing dog. Lift your heart. Breathe. Squeeze your butt. Let's stay for a couple breaths. Luxuriate in your upward facing dog. And bending your knees, coming back to a downward facing dog. Let's walk our feet all the way to meet our hands. Fold over your legs. Let your head fall. Lift your hips up. Let's come to our fingertips on the floor. Step the right leg back. Plank pose. Left leg meets the right. Take a step forward with your hands. Hollow out the plank. Press into your hands. Press into your toes. Use your core. If you're shaking, good. Shake now, you don't shake later. Elbows on the ground. Forearm plank. And walk up to a dolphin. And then downward facing dog. Arms straight. Tippy toes, bend knees, roll through each vertebra of your spine to your upward facing dog. Breathe. Let's roll over our hips to a downward facing dog. Drop your elbows to the dolphin. Walk your feet closer. Keep pressing into your forearms. Keep pressing into your elbows and your fingers. Use your good core. Step the legs all the way back for a plank. Let's roll to a side plank on the elbow. Maybe let's roll around. Left elbow comes across the front of the mat and we'll roll to the left. Let's come down to a plank. Come up to a plank. Side. Let's take a side plank. You can stay on your elbows. You can bring one foot in front to modify. Be here for 5 breaths. Take your left knee to the wide, and then behind you, you're gonna take a wild thing. Flippy dog. And roll over. Side plank on the other side. Make sure your wrist is right underneath your shoulder. Spinning your hand to the left. You can again take your right foot in front of you to take some of the weight off to make it a little easier, or take the plank for 3 more breaths. Right knee comes up, right foot behind you. And let's call that a warm up and release to the ground. Excellent. Now, for the sore people, let's get to it right away. Let's take a shoulder opener. So, right hand is straight back behind you. You can flip it up. You're gonna roll onto the right hip. Take your left hand behind you. Reach up, bend your left knee, put that behind you. Breathe into your shoulder. About 5 more breaths. And release the bind. Roll onto your stomach. Left hand straight out your shoulder. Maybe face your palm up. Right leg steps behind. You can just let your right hand fall behind your back. Breathe. If you're very flexible in this pose and you want to try to grab your hand, mind you, remember we'll be here for a while. So maybe it's not so much about reaching your maximum stretch as it is about feeling and surrendering and healing. If you don't feel complete without holding your hand, maybe you could just save that for the last 5 breaths or so. I'll give you a cue. Surrender wherever it is right now. Just breathe into the opening and the space you're creating in your body. Whatever is coming up through the heart, through the lungs, through the shoulder, just allow it to be. Observing it, not judging it, watching it, and letting it go. And release, roll over your hips. Bring your knees, shoulders underneath. And then come on up to a child's pose. So from here, we are going to touch our big toes together. You can take this as wide or as shallow as you like. Many people find in child's pose that they like to have a bolster to support them. They feel that, they could surrender more deeply with some support. And find out if that helps you.
No, you could always get rid of it as time goes. You can bring your arms to your sides. You can completely release your shoulders. Some people like to thread their arms through to even get more support. Hands and arms come inside the legs. If you want to take this into a deeper wrist stretch, you can put your wrists right under your feet from this position as well. So you're using the weight of your legs to get a little stretch into your wrists. Breathe. Release your wrists. Release the wrists. And kind of press your hands down, walk your knees together. Maybe remove the bolster, sitting on your heels. You can bring your hands behind you. So the tops of the hands are on the ground behind you. Lean your body right back and press and stretch out the tops of your wrists and forearms. Breathe. Now let's flip the hands over so the palms are on the mat. Reach maybe the heels of the hands up and reach back. Lean back. You lift your toes at the same time. Keep your toes on the mat and lift your knees. So you're stretching in through the tops of your feet, your ankles, your shins, now your forearms and your wrists. Lift your heart. Smile through your collarbones. And release the ankles. Great. My legs want to be stretched out after that, so what? Again, maybe windshield wiper our feet. We were resting our palms on the mat, lifting the heels of our hands up. Take our knees over to the left. Let's stay here for 10 breaths. Take our knees over to the right. I'm going to stay here for 10 breaths. Maybe the tops of our hands on the mat. Bending your elbows a little. Getting a stretch for the backs of the wrists, the backs, the backs of the wrists and forearms. Breathe. Okay, excellent. Back to constructive rest on your back. So feet are wider than hip distance apart, and knees are coming together. You can spread your arms out, make a T, depending on how much room you have. A good place to see if you can put blocks or handy and close by. Good. I see mine are one is and one is not, so I have to get that. After constructive breaths, come to kind of the center of the mat. You're going to do a wide leg straddle with the mat, holding the hips at the hip, so that way, first we'll start into Burrito Dandasana. Rotate your ankles, waterfall pose. Point and flex your feet. Anything that's stagnant, any energy in the feet and the ankles, just put your attention there and feel that it's starting to descend down the calves, shins, knees, thighs, quadriceps, hips. Now, from here we're going to open our legs, keeping the block underneath our hips. That will give us a point, allow us to open to that point, and just surrender. Just breathe, letting gravity do the work. Or 10 more breaths here. Slow breaths. Now, reach behind your knees. Gauge the pelvic wall and bring your legs together. Hug your knees into your chest. Press your shins down. Press the back into the mat. Round your back so the whole back is on the floor as you press it in. Excellent, let's come up. Maybe roll it to one side, your elbows. We're gonna do some more shoulder work. Warming up the shoulder, well, we warmed up the shoulders so that we could go deep, and I would like to go deep today. So maybe start with the table. Block will be right under your face. And we're going to use it for our forehead in this pose. So you're just gonna cross your right arm over your left, walk your legs straight back, hi, Paisa. Drop your head on the block, and let gravity do the work. Opening the shoulders. Come to your elbows. Shimmy them away from each other. Let's release this. Let's release this with a puppy pose. So reach your hands, coming to your knees. Reach your hands in front. Aiming for your forehead to the mat. If you can, bring your chin through. Maybe you can put your hand on a block. So you get your chest towards the mat if you can. 5 breaths. Push your elbows in. Come up. Slowly through a cobra again. Hips are forward. All the toes are on the mat. Shoulders are reaching back. Heart is reaching through the space in front of it. Now we get to do the other side. So left arm is going to come on top. I'm going to cross the arms. Left arm is going to be on top. This is still right into your face. And then just open your arm. Let your arms spread away from each other. And then just find out. Maybe shimmy around or up to get to that spot where you feel you're comfortable enough to rest. And it depends, the block could be on any height here. To find what works for you. And just breathe. Ten more breaths. And release out of that, pressing into elbows. And maybe shimmying your elbows out into a tabletop. Let's round through the spine, into your chest, hips are forward. And then inhale, look up, hips up. Collarbones lift. Look over your left shoulder, swing hips to the left. Look over your right shoulder, swing hips to the right. Just make circles with your head and your tailbone. And the other way. Let's see. Okay, excellent. Now, back to your feet again. I'm going to do some back bending poses before we open up a different angle of the shoulder. So, trying to get the shoulders from every angle because it's where I'm sore. On blocks are in a T. So this will go right to the bottom of your rib cage, and the back one just supports your head. Surrender.
About 20 more breaths.
Okay, walking these up. Press your elbows into the mat and come up slowly, okay? Now we are going to clasp our knees, clasp your elbows around your knees, and rest your forehead on the mat on your knees. Bring your head back behind you, tuck your chin around your back behind you. I wanted to do something with it for the neck. So this block right here, you're gonna have this part where your neck is, so it's gonna be pulling away. So maybe you've got to figure out how that's gonna work for you. I think that some people will have it on an edge like this. Whatever, you want your neck to be the back of your head right here. This is the occipital ridge, and in massage that's called the gates of heaven point. In Asian massage that's called the gates of heaven point for a release. So you've kind of got to figure out how to get that to work and what angle you want. I think that this is going to work for me. Just stay about 5 breaths, pulling the head away from the neck. And release the bottom. Maybe, some people will have it on the lower right. This is also going to work too if it's on the what is this? This is the rectangle length. So it's the second tallest length, and your neck is just the occipital ridge is just resting right on the block, and it's kind of, this is probably a little bit more gentle, gently separating your neck from your head, creating space. It will stay for 5 more breaths. And release that. Take this block, I would say the middle height, and put it right underneath your tailbone for the hip flexor stretch. I love to take the right knee into my chest here. And sometimes the block shifts, and that's okay. To me, that feels like a gentle pull, like a whole sacrum stretch. It's just kind of stretching up my lower back there. Breathe into it, whatever's happening there for you, breathe. Surrender, let it go. This is wind relieving pose. It is actually good for digestion. moving stuff. It's also good for a sore back. Hip flexor opening. 5 breaths. And release that. Leg to the floor. Feel the difference in your lower back and your hip flexors on both sides and breathe. Breathe into the space you've created in your back. And begin to do the other side. So left knee hugs into the chest. Let the block kind of pull your sacrum away from your lower back. Get a stretch there for that area. And release that. To scan your body for 3 breaths. Excellent. Now, you know what I want to do? We can actually keep the block underneath our sacrum, and I have a pillow, a bolster on one side, and a block on the other. I'm just going to let my knees, well, actually, I'm too high for my knees to be supported by the blocks, but I guess I could if I really felt I needed them. If you feel like you need it to lift your block onto a higher level and support your knees, but I don't really feel that I need that in this level. Breathe, you do you, whatever is calling for you to make this pose comfortable and accessible. You can remove the block entirely. It's up to you, it's an option. And walk your feet in constructive rest. Now you can remove the block. I'm going to take both blocks off to the left. Into your chest. Take the left knee down. Let's even roll onto our shoulder again. So this time we're going to open our shoulder a little different. We're going to have gold post arms. Gold post arms and right cheek is on the mat. Okay? So what that's going to do is it's just going to open the shoulder, the front of the shoulder. Take this left shoulder. Now you're going to shift onto the left hip again. This might be a little bit more intense. We won't stay here as long. With the shoulder bent, it seems more intense to me. If you can, straighten your legs. Straighten them. See what your body needs. If you want to bring your left leg forward of your right. Or you can put the left foot on the floor, bring it back behind. About 10 breaths. Okay, let's release that. Now we're gonna go post arms this way. So, excuse me. You're gonna go post arms. You're gonna take your knees to your left, to your right, sorry, your knees are to your right. This might feel okay, so you might wanna stay right in this position. That's wonderful, it's a good stretch for your shoulder. It's the front of the shoulder stretch. You can stay here if you want. This is gonna be enough for me, this angle, I think. Ten breaths. Okay, we back to, here we are again in Cobra. Sphinx pose, a Sphinx pose. So we've been here on Sphinx pose, and if you are comfortable here, stay here by all means, stay here. Lifting through your collarbone, reach your elbows towards your legs. Reach your heart through your chest. Lift your collarbones up. Relax your shoulders. Stay here if you like. If you want to have a deeper back bend, you can come up onto a block. Squeeze your chest through your arms. About 4 breaths now. Going to come a little bit higher. You can put another block on top of this block, right underneath your rib cage. Pelvis is on the ground, shoulders are reaching back, heart is lifting through, collarbones are smiling. Tighten your butt a little bit here. And release your butt. If you do not have your elbows on the block, put your elbows on the block now. We're going to transfer out of this and we're going to keep your elbows on the block. So we're going to bend the knees, bend the feet, press into the knees, lift the hips up, pressing into your elbows. Press into your elbows as you shift your hips back. And then, if you can, reach your head through your arms. Forehead to the floor if you can. If not, just float it. Floating is actually, if you kind of keep your neck neutral and float that, it's a deeper open for your armpits and pecs, shoulders, chest. Present your elbows. Walk your knees towards the block. Okay. We will finish this with some neck release stretches. I am gonna sit on a block now. You can grab a block and sit on one too if you like. Just cross your legs in front of you. Bring your right hand down to the right block. Take your left ear to your left shoulder. You can walk your block out if you want. Fingertips on it. Find the floor. You rotate your head left to the back, front. Find where that spot, where any tension in your neck lives, and breathe into it. Relax. Let your left elbow just relax. Left forearm. I can't say forearm today. Let your forearm relax on your head. Just gently breathe into the neck, and maybe take your right hand. Gently guide your right shoulder down. And breathe. Release. You can switch blocks. Take your right ear to your right shoulder. Maybe Chris, switch the crossing of your legs if you like. Right ear to your right shoulder. And see if you want to have your block flat. If you want to see if you could touch the fingers to the floor. You reach your head back and forth. Breathing into the side of your neck. Take your right arm across the top of your head. Gently guide it, your right ear to your right shoulder. Breathe into the left side of your neck. And clasp your left shoulder with your left hand and create space. And release. Let your head float up. Tension leaving your neck and shoulders. Roll your shoulders back and down. Bring your head to the space behind it slightly. Let's just become really curious about the inner landscape of us for about 4 minutes. Just some quiet, deep breaths. Observing your thoughts. Become a witness, without attaching to anything. Observe the quality of your thoughts. Bring our hands to our heart. May your thoughts, words, and actions be loving and kind. May we see the divine light in all beings. Thank you for coming. Sharing your space with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.